and what may be the most important Supreme Court abortion decision in decades.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Brian Williams.
Good evening. We now know what the Virginia Tech gunman was doing during that 2-hour period between shootings on campus. He was compiling before going to the post office and mailing via overnight mail what can only be described as a multimedia manifesto containing video, still pictures, and a lengthy document to NBC headquarters, this very building here in New York. The envelope was sent from Blacksburg, Virginia on Monday morning. And looking at a copy, you can even see the handwriting of the clerk checking it in at 9:01 a.m. But because the gunman had the wrong zip code, and there are 3 different scratched-out attempts at it, along with Rockefeller Avenue and not Rockefeller Plaza in New York, the zip code had to be corrected, and it didn't arrive here until today. An alert New York City Postal Service employee spotted the return address, and he spotted the return address name Ishmael and brought it to our attention by hand. When the package arrived on the desk of our news division president today, the first thing we did was call federal authorities. Tonight they have the original envelope. This one we've been showing you is a color copy. We have been poring over a copy of the contents we made. It has taken hours, and we are still going through it. We are sensitive to how all of this will be seen by those affected, and we know we are, in effect, airing the words of a murderer here tonight. We asked our justice correspondent, Pete Williams, to be with us here in New York from Washington, where he's been following this story. Pete, begin at the beginning.
Well, Brian, after seeing all this material, it's clear why the profilers have compared Cho Seung-hui to the students who shot their classmates at Columbine High School. In forceful language, he expresses the same kind of me against the world attitude. Just minutes after firing 2 fatal shots at the Virginia Tech dormitory on Monday, Cho Seung-hui returned to his own dorm room and made the final preparations to mail what appears to be a video confession.
When the time came, I did it. I had to.
In a separate written document, he includes 29 photos he apparently took of himself. He looks like a normal, smiling college student in only the first 2. In the rest, he presents the stern face and strikes the pose that was very likely what his victim saw later on Monday. In 11 of the pictures, he aims handguns at the camera, likely the very ones he bought in the past 2 months. In his 1,800-word diatribe, he expresses rage, resentment, and a desire to get even. With exactly whom, he never says.
You had 100 billion chances and ways to have avoided today, but you decided to spill my blood. You forced me into a corner and gave me only one option. The decision was yours. Now you have blood on your hands that will never wash off.
Much of it is incoherent, laced with profanity. He rails against hedonism and Christianity.
You just loved crucifying me. You loved inducing cancer in my head, terrorizing my heart, and raping my soul all this time.
Though he tried to cover his tracks by filing down the serial numbers on his guns, he obviously wanted the world to know who was responsible for the worst mass shooting in America. He began working on these materials at least 6 days beforehand.
I didn't have to do this. I could have left. I could have fled. But no, I will no longer run. If not for me, for my children, for my brothers and sisters, the chief. I did it for them.
And tonight, the investigators tell us, Brian, that they have interviewed the postal clerk who received this package in Blacksburg, Virginia, and he has told them that he recalls receiving just the single package, the one sent to NBC.
And we still don't know why. There's no direct reference to us in everything I read in this.
Right. It's not addressed to anyone. It's not like a letter that has a Dear Somebody on it.
Right. Now, Pete, the first piece of sound we used there and subsequent pieces were in the past. I wrote down, he says, the time came and I did it. I had to do what I did, which led to speculation among some of us looking at these videos that he perhaps, in addition to mailing something between these 2 shootings, actually videotaped himself. But we lack hard evidence to prove that thesis, right?
There's simply no way to know. We can tell by looking at the information on the computer files when certain things were recorded, when he compiled things in PDF files, when he recorded them on the computer.